from California EPA confirming aluminum contamination in waterways throughout California. This is from Cal EPA. There's about 26 lab tests in here confirming that there is aluminum, barium, strontium in our air, what we're all breathing here, we're all exposed to. We face a lot of legitimate challenges here. I agree with you. I agree with a lot of points brought up, but I would ask anybody in the room, what challenges will we face if we're inhaling aluminum on a day in, day out basis? If our streams are contaminated with aluminum, how can we prepare when our soils no longer grow properly, when we have a UV issue that's off the charts? So when we have Cal EPA stating that this is not in their jurisdiction, these climate modification programs that are absolutely going on, we have CARB saying not in their jurisdiction, Shasta County saying not in their jurisdiction. I would like to ask, since we know these programs are...
Maybe the federal EPA, because they're trying to take over every mud puddle and ditch and backyard pond in the world, so maybe somebody will find it. Right?
It is part of it. Water rights are being pursued, and we know the drought is a 2 + 2 = 4 equation. We have the satellite imagery to prove it up. So I'm going to hand this data off to you. I have a copy for you and for your staff. My question would be this: since everybody is passing the buck here, will your office address the fact that we have an absolute, positively, like a heavy metal contamination issue that cannot be disputed? It's a public health hazard. We have a UV radiation issue that's so intense it's burning the bark off of trees. All appear to be related to these climate modification programs, but these issues are indisputable public health hazards. Since nobody else will address it, will your office address it?
My name is Scott Stevens. I was a television weatherman for 20 years. These chemtrails are absolutely required to impact whatever weather event they were designing. And the trails were an absolute necessary ingredient for them to achieve their weather modification goals.
Chemtrails are a key element in the whole thing because they're obviously a way of putting a highly reflective material into the atmosphere.
With cloud seeding, the cooling will be achieved by making clouds reflect a bit more sunlight back to space than they would otherwise, and less sunlight reaching the surface would tend to cool the planet.
So let's say we were doing geoengineering because we wanted to make the weather a little bit better.
The more we see these trails in the sky, the less rain we get. Virtually all scientific data, even from the proponents of geoengineering, state clearly saturating the atmosphere with particulates will create drought.
Much has been made of this issue of damage from precipitation.
If the issue is understanding the climatic response, which is, I think, most of where this is going, and it's exactly where the precipitation gets higher or lower.
There will be monsoon failures during that period. There will be huge hurricanes.
It's likely to cause some damage in some places.
The global studies indicate there will be some impact on precipitation patterns, and obviously there's a lot more opportunity to work in that area. Just seeding can be pretty effective for the clouds we explored, but the interactions between seeding and precipitation in the form of drizzle are really complex.
So we're finding the aerosols, the metal particulates, the weather engineering, whether it's scalar, ionic, or orgone, or the chi of the atmosphere. All of those can be used and leveraged to create weather events that are several standard deviations or outside what would be typically normal. Before jumping on the chemtrail bandwagon was I needed a motive. Without a motive, you can't say what they're doing and why they're doing it. You have to have a motive.
Weather derivatives are products that commercial hedgers would use, such as an insurance company or an energy company, to hedge risk that's associated with weather. Precipitation or a hurricane or general heating days is what they're basically called. Certain temperatures or higher temperatures are going to associate with more energy, so they're going to want to hedge that risk. If you could structure a product where you say, okay, I'm going to buy insurance against it raining more than 10 inches in this area. If my risk is say $1 million, but I'm insuring for $10 million, then I can make it rain and collect a premium on the $10 million. Of course.
So the agenda was drought. The agenda was to kill the storm, at least in that one particular spot.
You're reducing the food security of people through deploying these kinds of approaches that potentially 2 billion people could have their food disrupted by such interventions.
It affects farmers by their ability to plan what they're going to be growing.
You see a tremendous and significant loss of property and crop production. Many times this will cause farms to go out of business, and when farmers go out of business, they usually have to sell, and then if there's somebody waiting in the wings to buy their land and then turn that land over to the production of genetically modified crops, you can see where there would be kind of a strategic advantage there.
The fact that it's cheap isn't necessarily a good thing at all. As I'll come to in a second, the fact that it's cheap is part of the hard problem of governance. The fact that it's cheap means any small state or even conceivably individuals could do this, and that is a very dangerous thing.
There's probably under $10 million per year, and maybe far less than that, being spent on geoengineering research. It's a mix of a handful of government grants and some private money, including support from Bill Gates.
There is a line of research on what's called geoengineering. The climate getting worse means that many years their crops won't grow. There'll be too much rain, not enough rain. Things will change in ways that their fragile environment simply can't support.
Bill Gates invests in geoengineering and he profits from the destruction through his investment in Monsanto. Monsanto is coming in and they're saying, we have a solution for your problems. Basically, if you control the weather and the seed source, you essentially control all food production.
You can kill a storm in place. That's easy to do with HAARP. You just change the polarization, you change the ionization of the atmosphere.